Somalis might be some of the worst migrants that you can import into our beautiful country, America, and I'm going to show you exactly why. I expose things that the media won't, so make sure you follow me. First of all, who decided that this is a good idea? And it's not just Obama, it actually started with Bush, who imported way more Somali migrants than Obama did. Between 2001 and 2016, both Bush and Obama admitted almost 100,000 Somali refugees into the United States. 99.6% of all these Somalian refugees are Muslims. 30% of them were males between the age of 14 and 50. So how much does all of this cost America? Well, let me show you. The total revenue for the state of Minnesota the Somalians produce on an annual basis is anywhere between $1 to $1.4 billion. That means that the total amount of money that a Somalian contributes to the United States is anywhere between $2,700 and $4,100. The average American contributes about $18,000. This isn't even a quarter of what the average American produces to the American government. So let's say they bring in about $3,200 a year to the American government. Well, how much do they take away? And this doesn't include the fraud that we just found through Nick Shirley. 81% of Somali households depend on some form of federal and state assistance like SNAP or Medicaid. If the household has kids, it rises up to 89% of households. About 60% rely on food stamps and about 80% rely on Medicaid, which means that the total amount that the federal government and the state government spends on each Somali migrant is anywhere between $12,000 to $20,000 annually. That includes direct benefits and public services. That means that on average, every Somali migrant costs the American government about $15,000 annually. On top of that, the majority of them commit massive fraud, stealing even more money from the American government. Somalis might be some of the
So if you take a look at that, it's quite startling regarding the breakdown of stats. And as we always say, this specific channel is related to money. So put aside where someone's from, their ethnicity, race, creed, irrespective. We always just look at stats. And if you take a look from the total US population, there's about 265,000 or so Somali descent. And they're really focused on areas such as Minnesota, Ohio, Washington, California. That's where they're drawn to. And a lot of them actually arrived post the civil war that took place in Somalia in the 1990s. And between that period of 2001 to 2023, so that 22-year period, there was about over 111 or so refugees that came through. About 87%, and it's quite a high, of the foreign-born in Minnesota are naturalized US citizens now, and about 95% of the Somali population in Minnesota being citizens overall, right? So you can clearly see that differentiation of what we're talking about here. And if you look from the social economic, because this is extremely important, over 37% of the adult Somali immigrants in Minnesota live below the poverty line. So 37% of the adult, so those that can actually participate in the workforce, that can actually earn a living, that can go and do a productive day's work and earn money, 37% are basically living below the poverty line, and over 52% of children in these homes do. So you can see the impact with adults that are not working or living below the poverty line, and you see the impact it has with their kids, yes? And those that are actually working generally have moved towards the plants, manufacturing plants, meat packing plants, and so on and so forth. So if you take a look at net negatives from these stats, that it's actually a burden on America in terms of the healthcare, welfare, that they have to pay out $18,000 per year to each Somali adult, shows you the impact it's having. Then when you add on the situation with the fraud that's come out, massive fraud of billions of dollars, it's not looking good. I think any country, again, put aside location, ethnicity, who cares? We're just talking about pure stats here. Yes, from those that are, I think any country should be open to those that have gone through war-torn crisis, wars, to be able to bring them in. But they should be able to come in, right, and then be productive, right, and then provide value to society, not to be a burden. I think this is the key point that a lot of people are missing, right? And then when you start committing fraud, and then with those funds from the fraud is then being essentially as a remittance being transferred back to the country. That's not good. So if you like this type of information, please comment your views, please like, subscribe. We're coming to you with some more details. Thank you.